audience.
Hi, my name's Mariana.
I'm Barry and this is Zach.
I'm Chase.
I'm Patrick.
Okay.
And my name is Lauren, and today I'm going to try and get y'all to get motivated and put yourselves out there to join a nonprofit organization. And this is the start of my speech, why you must engage yourself in a nonprofit organization. To start out, one of the organizations I'm going to be talking about is Action in Africa. And the reason that they started it is because they were watching a video with their teacher in class about child soldiers inside Africa, and they were informed about all of the things that they had to do each day and like the horrific deaths about it. And so that was kind of the reason that they started the organization. So that's why I started out my speech with photos from Africa of child soldiers. Okay, and here's some children in Africa. Okay, and before I continue my speech, this is my source page for my pictures, my quotes, my facts, and my figures. Okay, and like I said, my name is Lauren Kenyon, and I'm going to be explaining the need for people to get involved into nonprofit organizations, and I want to motivate y'all to do just that. First, my quote is by Martin Luther King Jr., and it says, "The first question which the priest and the Levite asked was, 'If I stop to help this man, what will happen to me?' But the Good Samaritan reversed the question, 'If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him?'" So kind of like the whole meaning behind my speech is to help people out, like during your lifetime, if you have the capability to help somebody out, whether it be financially or just to help them out in like building a home or anything, any like tactic that you can do just to help somebody out, because it's kind of like treat others the way that you should be treated or that you want to be treated. Just like if you were in a bind like that, you would want people that are capable of helping you out to help you. So kind of reciprocate that meaning and that emotion to other people. The need, first of all, is children living in poverty-stricken areas around the world need society's involvement in order to survive, to help those less fortunate, to give them a chance at a better future. Basically, the children like in Africa that are deprived of nutrition and of health care and of things that they need to survive aren't going to be able to have a future and won't be able to be the next doctors and the next teachers and lawyers and maybe even a part of like a nonprofit organization like they could be. They can't live up to their full potential because they're deprived of these things, and they were just born into poverty like this. They didn't ask for it. They didn't slack off or anything. This is just how they were born. And so it would be extremely helpful if we all got motivated together and were a part of things like this. It doesn't even need to take much of your time. It just takes a little bit of motivation. And especially when you like carry that on to other people, it can just grow throughout the globe. And it will gratify not only those who you've helped, but also the person that's lending a helping hand. So it's not going to just gratify the person that you like helped, obviously, like I said. It also helps you out, because when you're done with it, you'll feel so much better, and you'll know like if you're ever in a bind, there's people out there in the world that are going to help you out as well. Death statistics from malnutrition and lack of sanitation are signs that society's involvement is in need. My first quote is from worldhunger.org, and it says, "The number of hungry grew in Africa over the period from 175 million to 239 million, with nearly 20 million added in the last few years. Nearly 1 in 4 are hungry, and in sub-Saharan Africa, the modest progress achieved in recent years up to 2007 was reversed, with hunger rising 2% per year since then." So that just kind of shows like the growing aspect in the world of like poverty. And if you don't help these people out, how much it can just snowball into so much more than that and just grow around the globe. And if no one's helping out, then there's no future for those children or families. The need is universal, so it is worldwide. And another quote is the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that nearly 870 million people out of 7.1 billion people in the world, or 1 in 8 in another statistic, were suffering from chronic undernourishment in 2010 and 2012. That's from worldhunger.org from the articles. And that kind of just like puts that into perspective, how many people are malnutritious and who die from lack of food, which is something that we could so easily provide. It's really not that hard because we have so much of it in flourishing countries like America. And another quote is, hunger is also a cause of poverty and thus of hunger by causing poor health, low levels of energy, and even mental impairment. Hunger can lead to even greater poverty by reducing people's ability to work, learn, and thus leading to an even greater hunger. So obviously if it's not helped out initially, if the problem isn't fixed, then there's no future hope in, I guess, grabbing that subject and taking that and lowering the poverty percentile. If you don't like get engaged, then it's just going to keep growing. And if people are hungry, then obviously they can't engage themselves in the community, they can't work, they can't get educated and go to school, because if they're dying of malnutrition or of disease or something, then they have no future, then they're just slowly dying and there's no hope for them. I'm not going to read all of them, but areas all around the globe have issues with violence and wars, health issues, and poor education, leading to even more poverty. So that's just another thing that organizations could help out and that you could engage yourself in, is help with the wars and violence, health issues, and the education, and possibly like starting up schools and stuff in Africa. One quote is, 22,000 children die each day due to poverty, and they die quietly in some of the poorest villages on earth, far removed from the scrutiny and the conscience of the world. Being meek and weak in life makes these dying multitudes even more invisible to death. So if you don't get out there and you don't enlighten people in kind of what's going on in the world, then there's no way that they can help out. There's no way that people can engage themselves in the community if they don't know like what parts of the world are poverty stricken and need help. Creating hope with your involvement, this need can be met. A society must take part in renewing the poverty-stricken areas of the world in order for the people who live there to have a chance of the future. Individuals can provide goods and services, take part in fundraisers, and donate. It doesn't even have to involve money. Like, it can just involve some of your time. Even just going to meetings and supporting and like promoting awareness can be a part of the organization. And pushing community to care for one another will create hope, reduce death rate, and construct a future for the children living in poverty. Anyone can participate in a nonprofit organization, and with enough people to contribute time and effort, it's an easy and resourceful way to better the community. And so the more people you get in, obviously the more help and the better that it's going to be for the community. In the long run, one person can make a difference in the world, but it's better with a bunch of people combined. Also, one of my examples for this is Action in Africa, which is an organization that I mentioned in my last speech. But to give it more history, it was started by children, or by high school students in their school that were shown a video, like I said at the beginning of my speech, about child soldiers in Africa. And they just got together after school and talked about it with their teacher, and we're talking about the need that these children needed for them in Africa for like charity wise, and for them to like build them new schools and things like that, for them to get educated and have a future. So they started that, and it just ended up growing throughout the entire school and throughout the community, and now it's worldwide. And it just shows after just a few years how like much that can grow. And I have the statistics for how much money they raise as well. But before that, just think the lives of those who are saved will transform dramatically. Just by giving the youth of Africa food and education and medical care, these children can give us hope for the future. These children will be the future doctors, firefighters, teachers, and members of upcoming nonprofit organizations. This is one of my quotes from the Action in Africa page, and I'm not going to read it. It's basically just stating that they raised $200,000 and got the entire town of Aspen, where they're from, excited about the cause and involved in it. And they started in Beira. I know there was like a women's center, a school, and a few medical centers that they started. And they go back periodically to check on the people that they're taking care of. And one quote from the page on Action in Africa from like all the members, one of the quotes was, "My experience of traveling to Biara, Uganda is filled with incredible memories. However, they are not general ideas, but rather individual snapshots, brief and colorful moments that even today bring a smile to my face upon recollection." So that just kind of like restates my fact that just because you've helped somebody out doesn't mean that that's the only person getting gratified. It's also you, like you being the person that helps those people out. I don't know, it will, and then motivate you to motivate other people, and it'll grow that way. And that's how organizations get started. If the solution is not implemented, then lives will continue to be lost and countries will fall to poverty. And then John 15:12 states, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." And then to summarize, transform life in Africa and other poverty-stricken homes by getting involved in improving their futures, both individual and the individual that's getting helped and the person that's volunteering is gratified. And I encourage you to understand the importance of these issues to support my action and nonprofit organizations. The children of the future are currently suffering due to the poverty they've been born into, so I urge each and every one of you, look into your hearts to reach out to others, to care for those who cannot yet care for themselves, to reach out a helping hand, and in doing this, make your desire to volunteer contagious. By participating in nonprofit organizations, you can save countless lives. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.